The Chicago Bears have not lost free agency. What's up? This is Sean, Sports Talk Bears. If you like the material, like and subscribe as we drive towards 10,000 subscribers. Would love to have you aboard. So, what I'm saying here, everyone, they need to just relax. We have not lost free agency, but from the outside, we've signed 6 new players. On the surface, no one really moves the needle. So, let's look at it. The result: a starter at safety and a couple backups, a number 2 tight end, a pair of Komet, a number 3 offensive tackle, and possibly a stopgap at center, a quarterback. Rippin likely won't even make the roster, so I'll give you that. And a splash signing at running back. Not even close to the top one available, but for similar money. And in the world of instant gratification, we can look at this as losing free agency, right? The top guys that I thought would be a great fit: Jonathan Grenard, Danielle Hunter. Nope. It's arguable that we needed a 3-tech, but we passed on Christian Wilkins. Let's just panic, okay? Let's just panic and get this quarterback decision finalized. It's got to happen right now, right? Sound familiar? No trade of Justin Fields, and according to recent reports, we have not even shopped him on the market. Now, with most of the potential landing spots that they've dried up, what do we do now, right? What do we do? Let's panic. Just negative take after negative take after negative take. I want to present something different here. One thing that might be quite evident now: we're going to do some deal making with our number 1 and or number 9 pick. Most of our remaining needs are going to be addressed in the draft, and that's exactly the MO of GM Ryan Poles. Let's be patient. Let's trust him. That's why he's being careful in free agency. I mean, we could maneuver in a way in the draft that when the dust settles, we've drafted a couple good receivers, a nice player to edge, offensive line help. I don't think there's going to be a QB change either. We are trading in the draft to take advantage of the best way to build out this team and also fuel to keep doing it in the future, right? I'm going to go to this story on WindyCityGridiron.com. Just a great source. This is a Greg Gabriel article. I'm not a huge fan of his, but this one I think is pretty good. This team is doing something. It's getting filled out with depth and getting weaknesses shored up. In free agency, it's not over, so chill. A good thing, though, we are disciplined and we didn't reset the market at any position. Also, we actually did make a huge move in free agency. If you've forgotten, we re-signed perhaps the best cornerback in the game. Jalen Johnson is signed for 4 years now on a contract that didn't reset the market. And also, it'll be a bargain in the next 3 years due to the way that it's been front loaded to take advantage of this year's cap, right? The message to the team as well: if you're here and you totally ball out, we will pay you. We will keep you. We will reward you. And guys like Justin Jones, let someone else overpay for inferior performance. I'm glad that he's gone. We've got to remember something too. What's going on here? Tons of cap room left, a roster ready to compete with some tweaks. That's thanks to Poles. And we've got to remember what Poles does in constructing a roster. When we pay a premium price, like the acquisition of Montez Sweat, right? We paid you could call it a tax of sorts, a 2nd-round pick. And that made sure we got him, and we didn't get into a bidding war with other teams in free agency. And as new contracts get done, the Sweat contract, it's going to be a bargain. It's going to be $10 million below the top of the market, top production without the cost. And really, the only market-setting contract was last year's signing of Tremaine Edwards. Other than that, Poles is careful with a cap. He's been given a cap to steward, and he's doing it so well, and I think it's the right thing. Looking back to last year, this is what Poles said, right? So we shouldn't be surprised on what's going on presently. I'm going to close this story down. So let's remember last year, ahead of his first real opportunity to be aggressive in free agency, this is what Poles said, and I quote: "The key is we don't waste this opportunity. We don't do something that's not sound, that doesn't allow us to have this flexibility in years to come." He's talking about the cap. So that's the balance: taking advantage of now, but still not trying to hurt yourself down the road. That's often guided the Bears GM, right? He's not trying to set any precedents. He's not listening to all the noise. Unless he views the player as a big multiplier like he did with Sweat, He's not going to be resetting the market. And an article, this article continues. I just closed down. It made a few points here. And once again, go to that article on WindyCityGridiron.com. It is a great source. So, yes, looking at this free agency, Hunter, he would have upgraded the pass rush, right? Wilkins would have too. Gabe Davis, he would have been a better receiver than what we currently have behind DJ Moore, and that's not much. Lloyd Cushenberry, he might have been a better option at center than Ryan Bates. We could have definitely afforded it. Free agency is like anything during this period of the calendar, though, a guessing game. It's a little more educated than the NFL draft, but we've seen free agent busts, and we've seen some guys on 1 year low cash deals. They've become stalwarts. They've become building blocks of teams. I like what we're doing here. And here's one way that we can look at what Poles has accomplished. And it's fully different. It's a fully different take than the current narrative. So a lot of you guys won't like this. And maybe there are reasons why the Bears made these additions. Let's consider a different view here. Poles has been aggressive, and he has picked his spots. Philly, they released two-time Pro Bowler Kevin Byard. We jumped on it immediately with a 2-year contract, and we did it before competing with other teams in free agency. We did it before free agency started. He's the same age as Eddie Jackson, but he's just a better fit for what Coach Flus wants for the back end of his defense, right? He's more durable, he's more athletic, and he's way more physical. This is a really good signing, and it's for reasonable money. Let's judge it properly. Plus, we signed 2 depth pieces. The lack of depth, if you remember, that hurt us badly last year at safety. We had 0 depth. Jonathan Owens, that gives us great insurance. He plays special teams too, and he can even play nickel linebacker in a pinch. Underrated, a good player, a good signing. Then he saw Swift and immediately signed him as well. He's an upgrade over anyone we've had in recent memory, if you think about it. Now we have a quick and fast home run hitter. He can catch the ball. He's the perfect addition to our committee backfield. We don't need Derrick Henry. He's not what we want. Swift is exactly what we need for the offense that we're going to run. And if he stays healthy, we'll actually applaud this during the season once the FOMO is worn off that we're experiencing right now. We also signed a tight end in Gerald Everett. He knows the Waldron offense well. He's been coached by him on 2 different teams, and he's also a great receiving threat. A 2 tight end set. It's actually runnable now. Say what you will about Ryan Bates, right? But 5th rounders, they're seldom all pros. And why not use a pick on a proven commodity? Bates, he can play any spot on the offensive line. He can be the starter at center if needed, which it will be needed if we draft one while he gets acclimated to the pro game. It takes rookies a while at center to get ready to play full time. And also, he doesn't mess up the cap. I'm telling you, this is a strong signing as well. And look at these depth pieces, okay? Let's look at them from a different perspective. I mean, you can look at offensive tackle Matt Pryor. He's experienced. He's versatile as an offensive lineman. He played for a team that went to the Super Bowl last season, and he started a wild card game for the 2019 Philadelphia Eagles. He's not a superstar, I get it. But once again, quality depth, and quality depth is what we've sorely lacked. Also, I'm going to butcher his name, but linebacker Amen Ogbongbemijo. That's probably completely wrong. I'm terrible with names, so please excuse me. But he's a core special teamer for the Chargers this last 3 seasons. He helps boost Richard Hightower's unit along with Owens, and we've got a nice player visiting us today too, and that's DJ Wanham. I did a story on this a couple days ago. He could be an underrated answer at edge for us. He has the versatility to bounce inside. He had his second 8-sack season last year for Minnesota. I had a viewer point out that Minnesota, they just blitz so much that may have inflated his stats. But he's a pretty darn good pass rusher, even though the Vikings blitz a ton. 16 sacks in 2 seasons. That's nothing to sneeze at. I think we possibly can get a versatile, like out-of-the-box option for that. So yes, we need edge, possibly a 3-tech if you don't think Gervon Dexter is the answer. I personally think Gervon has that covered, and I think our coach, Eric Washington, will get him where he needs to be. We need offensive line help and definitely a couple of wideouts, but we can't judge free agency yet. We still have Josh Reynolds, Hollywood Brown, Curtis Samuel, Big Mike Williams. I mean, Big Mike Williams, he could join our team and be reunited with his former position coach from the Chargers, Chris Beatty. He's our wide receivers coach now, if you haven't been paying attention. We just need to know how his ACL surgery went. We need to know if he can be ready to play. That might be the potential barrier there, but there are still options in free agency at wide receiver. There's still a possible T. Higgins trade. There is meat on the bone, and we are judging this free agency class from a ooh, something shiny, from a oh man, FOMO. I'm really missing out on all these good players. We're getting left out. We're losing free agency. It's not done yet. We also have not one, but 2 top 10 picks, and everyone's still guessing at our quarterback decision. That could be a very good thing at the negotiation table. We haven't lost free agency. You can argue that we're using it in a smart way. Starters without resetting the market in Byard and Smith, much needed depth, creation of competition at multiple positions. And here's a thought: making it possible that when draft time comes around, we can simply take the best player available when we draft. The acquisition of Byard at safety and Bates at center, or any other spot on the offensive line, he can play with his versatility. That gives us flexibility. That gives us choices. That still gives us a ton of cap still in free agency that we can make a move on 1 or 2 of these wide receivers and get that done. We can make a trade for someone like T. Higgins and be able to actually pay his salary. And we have these first round draft capital spots at 1 and at 9. I'm telling you, we're still going to keep Fields. Poles has not even shopped him yet. I will be shocked if we get rid of him and we have that number 1 and number 9 pick to turn into a bevy of draft picks that can be used for years to come. Multiple firsts for that number 1 if we trade a little further back. And man, just so many possibilities. We did not lose free agency. We got to trust Poles. He hasn't given us a single reason not to trust him, and I think the best is yet to come. You guys, I don't have to tell you to comment. You guys are going to. The comments are crazy sometimes, but we all have our strong opinions. I just appreciate each and every one of you, and let's get to 10,000 subscribers. Appreciate you guys. Bear down. Talk soon.